Hello. Jesus TV here, back with another video, and we have another YouTube video coming today. We're going to be reviewing either DJ Khaled or JID's album, whichever one. The video footage might corrupt, so be aware that it's either going to be an edited reaction or me just reviewing the album in about 10 minutes. But anyways, we have The Walking Dead, the second episode of Season 2, Bloodletting. Pretty big episode. I mean, every episode kind of has a purpose. That's why it's a popular show. That's why it's critically acclaimed. But we're just going to get to the plot. We're going to get to the critical response because I have to do some math homework here in a little bit. I mean, it's my last homework for the weekend. We can enjoy the weekend and stream tonight and tomorrow night. So that'll be very fun. Listening to the new Autumn project tonight and a bunch of other things will be a blast. So let's get into it. So in a flashback, Lori Grimes is talking with other mothers about a fight she had with her husband, Rick. So it's kind of reflective on Rick talking to Shane in the first episode, kind of the parallels of the two worlds of these two, like their viewpoints of each other, and they do a really good job of kind of highlighting this. Rick's partner Shane Walsh pulls up in a police cruiser and tells Lori that Rick has been severely wounded in a highway shootout. Now, obviously, with the job of being a cop, Lori should probably expect this to happen. And I'm not sure, when he got shot, I think it was literally right before the infection started making news headlines and people started dying and becoming the walkers that we see in the show. But I don't know, maybe because the apocalypse was kind of starting to develop, I would say, at the time this happened, she was probably really worried. Lori then tells her and Rick's son Carl the news, causing him to break down in tears. Now, obviously, you never want to tell a little boy that his father has been shot, and he might not make it. It was a bad shooting. Like, Rick barely made it out, and dramatically so. Obviously, it's a TV show. That's going to happen. So he barely makes it out, and yeah, shout out to Shane, because without Shane, Rick would be fucking dead right now, and we gotta keep holding that over Rick's head, because the show tries to change our concepts of Shane and our opinions on him, but he's a savior at the end of the day. So in the present, Carl has been accidentally shot by a man named Otis, played by Pruitt Taylor Vince. Kind of a introduction to his character. They show who shot Rick, who is hunting for deer. Obviously, it's an accident. They know it. The deer was lined up, and Carl just happened to be behind him right at the angle the guy was shooting the deer at. Kind of unfortunate circumstances, but I mean, it might be a blessing in disguise because they get to meet new people, and we will see what kind of people they meet. So Otis brings Rick, Carl, and Shane to a veterinarian named Herschel Green, played by Scott Wilson, for whom Otis works as a farmhand. So I don't know why we're still working for each other. That's kind of weird considering we are in an apocalypse, but it is what it is. I will let it slide. I will let it slide! Sorry, shout out Berlizzi. But yeah. So Herschel Green, we found out he's a veterinarian. He's not all the way a doctor, but he is a veterinarian. Like, he can still do medical operations on living things, so that's good. That's like the least you could get. Herschel lives with his daughters Maggie, played by Lauren Cohan, and Beth, played by Emily Kinney. Beth's boyfriend Jimmy, played by James Allen McCune, and Otis's wife Patricia, played by Jane McNeil. So we get introduced. We get introduced to like 6 characters in this episode, and that is pretty dope to see The Walking Dead. Every time the survivors live this nomadic lifestyle, they always run into some civilization, which wouldn't always happen in real life, but I mean, with how big of an area the Atlanta area is, I'm sure there's people branching out everywhere. So there's still hope every time they come upon a civilization. He treats Carl, but he reveals that the bullet was broken into 6 fragments, probably one of the worst case scenarios to happen when you're getting shot. If the bullet breaks into your skin, sometimes it just makes a clean cut and you can just take the bullet out, or honestly, sometimes it just goes up the back end of your body. That didn't happen with Carl, and the worst you would have is like some broken bones. But no, Carl has fragments and like in his chest. It's a very vital part of the body. So his survival... his chances of survival are slim, but we obviously know his fate. I've already watched the show a little bit, so I know what happens to him. Rick must donate blood to Carl in order to keep him alive, and obviously as a father figure and a protector of the house, he is more than willing to do this for his son, who's only like 10 years old, getting shot. I mean, that's terrible, but Lori, Glenn, Carol, Daryl, and Andrea are still searching for Carol's daughter, Sophia, when they overhear a gunshot. So they're probably assuming the worst, which some of the worst happened. Carl got shot, and I don't know why Sophia would get shot, but they might have assumed that happened, especially Carol. So meanwhile, on the highway again, we're moving on. We got like 3 different storylines. We have the storyline of Rick, Carl, and Shane at the vets, and soon Lori. Everyone pretty much joins soon, but you know, we have them. We have the people looking for Sophia, and we have the people looking for stuff on this like traffic jam on the highway. So meanwhile, on the highway, Dale believes that T-Dog has contracted a blood infection from the wound he received in the previous episode, prompting their fruitless search for antibiotics. They need to find stuff to get this infection to go away, for him to heal so he can keep on keeping on. So at the Green Farm, Herschel reveals that Carl needs major surgery to live and that he will need a respirator. He will need someone supplying him air while he's going down because he's not going to be able to breathe on his own. He's put down, Otis suggests that they might find supplies at a nearby high school where the Federal Emergency Management Agency has set up a trailer, although the place is likely overrun with walkers, as is most of the areas they are dealing with now. So Otis and Shane decide to get the supplies while Maggie retrieves Lori from the group and brings her to the Green home. Kind of a badass way of introducing herself to the other members of the group. She's swooping in. She's a horse. She's on a horse. She sees a walker. She's like, Lori, you need to come with us. Max and Carl got shot. I don't think Rick wanted them to know that way. I don't think he even wanted everyone else to know. I think he just wanted the inner family to know that Carl got shot, as to not worry the rest of the family. And, Carol has a daughter, so obviously, if her young one got hurt like that, she would be in shambles. Obviously, she's a very emotional character, justifiable. Rick and Herschel discuss the Walker epidemic. Rick believes there is no cure, while Herschel has faith that there could be one. Obviously, as a guy in the medical field, you have to have faith in your cohorts. They're going to find a cure, that type of thing. But I don't know. This is going to be a hard thing to cure. So the group searching for Sophia returns to the highway, where Daryl reveals that he has a bag containing painkillers and doxycycline antibiotics that T-Dog can take. So this whole time, Daryl and them are wandering the woods, and he has medication for T-Dog. Obviously, he wasn't aware that T-Dog was going through what he was going through, but it would have been nice to know. Shane and Otis retrieve the supplies, but are spotted by walkers, of course, so they have to make a run for it. The two have no choice but to barricade themselves in the high school, and that's where we're left off in the air. Will they survive? I don't remember. I think they do, but I don't know. I don't want to spoil it if I don't really know what happened, but yeah, the episode was pretty well received. 9 out of 10 on Ology. The episode was a home run episode for the series. Its central conflict is intense, its action is solid, and its new arrivals are engaging characters in their own right. Light on the gore and heavy on the drama, just how the zombie adventure should be, I think. A lot of positive reviews. It's an improvement from the previous episode. The episode opened up new plot points for future episodes to come, which is great. At the bare minimum, The Walking Dead should be exciting, and the final moments of Bloodletting provides more than enough action. Daily Telegraph gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. It may have been a calmer episode, but there was no shortage of story to chew on. The opening sequence of the episode, the performances of Lincoln and Bernthal were great. Andrew Lincoln and John Bernthal gave a fine bit of acting, and it's interesting how the character Rick started looking and walking a little bit zombish after giving blood. The scenes between the two men were moving, and if you listen close, you could decipher the main differences between these two cowboy cops. Rick is bound and determined to get back to his wife and let her know their son is in mortal danger, without ever doubting his own ability to successfully complete the mission, while Shane, on the other hand, is not quite as automatically selfless and heroic. That's what they want you to think, though. A B grade from media.com, I think. IGN gave it 8.5 out of 10. Great response. It was an improvement over the last episode again. Great scare moment and cliffhanger. 8.3 out of 10 on Paste. Commendable. Bloodletting was superior to the previous episode. It was a character strengthening episode, even those throwaway threads are immensely important to what's about to go down at the Green Farm. It was, by and large, a tedious hour, as most "oh my god, will this boy die" hours tend to be. There was some fun zombie action during the assault on the school, and we got a wince-inducing surgery scene as the doctor pulled out a fragment of bullet from Carl's stomach, but in between this was a lot of talking, a little bit served, much purpose beyond filling time. It wasn't that interesting of an episode. I can agree to some extent, but still, the characters they met was enough for me. Some people didn't like it. Yeah. Some people say much as people want the show to find some way to do its characters right, these conversations were bland, providing no new information behind. It would suck to have your son get shot in front of you, right? A B minus. It's still a good grade on the AV club, but for an episode titled Bloodletting, there was surprisingly little of it. What we got instead were outpourings of emotion and frustration. 2 entries in, and it's already clear that the show wants to strike a balance between gore and humanity. Yeah, they do. Some people didn't like it. Disappointing. Low number of zombie sequences. It must be a bit of relief for the show's makeup department. People would like to see at least one walker every 10 minutes or so. That is a pretty good critique. I would say there aren't enough zombies when really the whole point of the series is to have zombies and guts and stuff, and you're supposed to wrench and curl. I mean, obviously the surgery scene was pretty disgusting and like gore porn, but yeah, it's a decent episode. I wouldn't say it's amazing, but there's definitely some cool storylines there. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Tonight you're either getting a JID or a DJ Khaled reaction or review, however I do it, however I choose, however my computer chooses to do it for me. But yeah, I got homework. I got a lot of stuff to do today. I'm gonna have to write some stuff down, but we'll get some shit to happen. We'll make it happen.